In this video, we're going to look at the body and body paragraphs in academic essays. We'll study the structure and components and look at the different types of body paragraphs. We'll study the support tools that we use in academic writing and consider how to write such paragraphs. And we'll provide lots of examples for the different aspects of body paragraphs. We'll finish with the process of revising, editing, and proofreading such paragraphs. Make sure that once in a while you pause and take notes, and you use the timestamp outline in the description of the video. And remember, you need to come back to review and reinforce. Let's start with some general information about the body of the essay. The body of the essay is the largest part of any essay. This is the part in which you have about 80% of the materials, specific information, and details. This is the part in which you develop the main idea of the essay. And in order to develop the main idea, you organize all the ideas and the information and the materials that you have into clear sections. Now, this division of the ideas and information into different sections is based on the template that you have chosen for your essay, which could be argumentation, comparison, contrast, etc., etc. Now, in each section, you will discuss only one specific aspect of the main idea. And then in this section, you give all the information related to that aspect. Any data you have, any citations you have, any support tools that you're using to support your ideas, they should be put together in a logical order in that section. And also, this organization of all the supporting details occurs in the form of what we call a body paragraph. So a body paragraph is a paragraph inside the body of the essay that discusses only one aspect of the main idea. You may break that aspect into smaller parts inside the body paragraph. And then again, you follow a logical order in order to put all the materials together inside the body paragraph. You need to provide ample support, and you will use a variety of support tools. Academically, we have access to many different support tools that we can use to support our ideas in a body paragraph, and we're going to look at them in a minute. And also, one very important point is that we should check that our body paragraph is logically connected to whatever comes before and after it. And sometimes this could be a problem because when you're working on a long essay, you may be working on one of the body paragraphs on a separate day, and then there may be a kind of disconnect between the body paragraphs or a body paragraph and what comes before it or after it or both. And this is something that you need to check when you're revising, editing, and proofreading at the end of the writing process. Now, academically, there are a number of components that we use in body paragraphs. These are the most important ones. You don't have all of them inside the same body paragraph, but let's first become familiar with all the components possible in an academic body paragraph. The first and most important component is the topic sentence, which is the first sentence of the body paragraph. You have it in all body paragraphs. This is a sentence that contains the main idea of the paragraph and also the direction that we give to the main idea. In every way, the topic sentence is very similar to the thesis statement that we discussed, the sentence that you have at the end of your introduction. The only difference between a topic sentence and the thesis statement is that the thesis statement contains the main idea of the whole essay and gives a direction to it, but the topic sentence contains the main idea that you're going to discuss in that body paragraph and also gives it a direction. In some body paragraphs, after the topic sentence, you have some expansion. This is some kind of explanation or discussion of the main idea in different forms. Usually you have expansion after the topic sentence when you're not breaking the main idea into different parts. But if you're breaking the main idea into different parts, then you have a number of supporting sentences. And each supporting sentence is the development or expansion of one of those parts. We're going to look at some examples, and this will make sense. You will have a lot of minor ideas. These are your supporting tools that you have. You could have facts, figures, reasons, descriptions, explanations, processes, citations, statistics, data, so on and so forth, which could be organized depending on the kind of body paragraph you have. And then usually at the end, as a final sentence, or sometimes two sentences at the end of the body paragraph, you have a kind of concluding sentence that summarizes and wraps up the whole discussion in the body paragraph. Now, it is possible to put these components together and form two types of body paragraphs. Academically, usually we have one of these two types. Type 1, which is a simpler structure, starts with a topic sentence at the beginning, and then you have an expansion, then you have your minor ideas, and you finish with a concluding sentence. This structure is very simple. It is like a cake. You have different layers. You write your topic sentence, then you have your expansion, then you have your minor ideas, and finally you have your concluding sentence. Type 2 is a little bit more complicated. You start with a topic sentence still, but then you have units of a supporting sentence and minor ideas together. Now, in the example you see on the screen, there are three. You could have a supporting sentence 1 and minor ideas, supporting sentence 2 and minor ideas, supporting sentence 3 and minor ideas. So you can see that we have smaller units of a supporting sentence and minor ideas. These are different parts of the main idea from the topic sentence. And you could have between 3 to 9 units of a supporting sentence and its minor ideas, depending on the length of your body paragraph and the kind of essay that you're writing. And then you finish with a concluding sentence. As you can see, the structure is a little bit more complicated, but because you're breaking all the information and the details that you have into smaller units, it is possible to organize everything in a way that your readers understand everything better. Now, let's look at each type and discuss the internal structure and look at examples. So in type 1, these are the components that you have. You have a topic sentence at the beginning. You express the main idea of the paragraph in this sentence, but you don't break it into different parts. You just introduce the main part, whatever it is. Then after this one, you have an expansion, which is, depending on the length of the paragraph, 2-3 sentences, in which you are developing the main idea. This development may be in the form of more explanation or description or paraphrase, or perhaps you're giving a different definition. And then you have all the minor ideas. Remember, this is the largest part of your paragraph because this is the part in which you have all the details. And you remember, the main purpose of the body and the body paragraphs is the development and expression of all the details that you have. So here you're giving all the supporting tools, supporting details that you have. Academically, they could be facts, figures, reasons, descriptions, explanations, processes, examples, citations, statistics, data, analysis of data, or whatever you have to support the main idea here. And finally, at the end, you have a concluding sentence or a number of concluding sentences. And these are a recap of the main idea of the paragraph in the light of the details that you have discussed in the minor idea section. Now, this is an example of type 1. I'm not going to read this. You can pause the video and read it if you like, but I want you to see the structure in practice. So in this paragraph, we have a topic sentence at the beginning. Grades motivate students to approach their studies in a deep and meaningful fashion. Notice that we're not breaking the main idea, which is grades motivating students, into different parts. We're just introducing this. And then you expand it a little bit. You have 2-3 sentences here explaining and paraphrasing and expanding on this idea of grades motivating students. And then you give all the supporting details that you have. In this case, you have a study. One study demonstrates convincing evidence of this. And then you have the description of the study and the results. And you can see that this is the largest part of your body paragraph. And finally, at the end, you have a conclusion. You have one sentence concluding, summarizing, and wrapping up the discussion. So if you look at the structure, you can clearly see the components that we have. You have a topic sentence at the beginning, then you have your expansion. After that, you have your minor ideas, and finally, you finish with a concluding sentence at the end. Now, in type 2, you start with a topic sentence. Again, in the topic sentence, you introduce the main idea of that paragraph, but this time you break the main idea into different parts, as you did in your thesis statement. This is what you do in your thesis statement, but sometimes it is possible to do it in your topic sentences as well. If this is the case, then you write a short sentence in order to introduce each one of those parts. And then after each one of those parts, you give all the minor ideas related to that part of the main idea. And again, these minor ideas could be facts, figures, reasons, descriptions, explanations, but they are grouped after the supporting sentence they belong to. And finally, you have a concluding sentence. Now, let's look at this example to see the structure more clearly. All right, so again, you have a body paragraph here. I'm not going to read it again. If you'd like to pause and read it, you can do it. But let's look at the structure together. All right, so you have a topic sentence at the beginning. There are 3 basic kinds of materials that can be found in any good library. And notice that here your main idea is library materials, and now you're breaking the main idea into different kinds. You're breaking them into 3 basic kinds. And then you have supporting sentences, introducing those. So you have first, there are books. So that's the first kind. Second, there are reference works. And third, there are periodicals. Now, notice that you don't need to have very long sentences as supporting sentences, because the purpose of a supporting sentence is just to introduce that part of the main idea. All right, in this case, a kind. And here we have books, and we have reference works, and we have periodicals. So we introduce them very, very simply. Also notice that each sentence starts with a listing signal, words or phrases like first, second, third, to begin with, finally, furthermore, another, signaling to your readers that we're making a list. And notice that the supporting sentences are not one after another, because after each supporting sentence, you need to have all the minor ideas related to that supporting sentence. So these are all the minor ideas that you have. And again, notice that minor ideas form the largest part of your body paragraph. Again, remember, the purpose of a body paragraph is including and discussing all the details that we have, all the specific information that we have. Now, you remember when I talked about this structure, the structure of a body paragraph type 2, I told you that we have small units of supporting sentence and minor ideas together. And now you can see them. We have 3 here. We have the first one in which we're introducing books. And then you have details about books. And in the second part, we're introducing reference works, and you have some details about reference works. And then you're introducing periodicals. We're using a variety of different support tools here, like examples or facts or details, so on and so forth. And notice that almost always the amount of information that you give should be balanced. The 3 parts that we have here, they are almost of the same size. And finally, you have a concluding sentence at the end, wrapping up the whole discussion. So once more, let's look at the structure. At the beginning, you have a topic sentence in which you break the main idea into different parts. Then you have your supporting sentences that introduce those parts. And then you have your minor ideas supporting the supporting sentences or expanding the supporting sentences. And you have 3 units here. You could have 3 up to 9. And then you have 1 concluding sentence at the end. Now, whenever you finish a body paragraph, it's a good idea to pause, read your body paragraph, and check. These are questions that you can use in order to check different aspects of your body paragraph before you move on to the next paragraph. Is the paragraph within the word limit? You remember that academically we always work with the word limit. So check the word limit. Have you included all the components? Depending on the type of the body paragraph you have. Do you have a topic sentence at the beginning? Do you have expansion? Do you have minor ideas? Do you have a concluding sentence at the end? Or if you're using type 2, do you have a topic sentence at the beginning in which you break the main idea into different parts? Do you have supporting sentences and their minor ideas as smaller units inside the body paragraph? Do you finish with a concluding sentence at the end? And are these components in the right order and size? For example, the topic sentence is always the first, and it is always one sentence. The concluding sentence at the end, always one sentence. Check all of these. Have you used the support tools effectively? Do you have the right support tools? Are you using citations effectively? Are you using details, statistics, data analysis effectively? Are the ideas in the paragraph logically ordered and connected? Remember, the order you put forth all the information in the paragraph is important. Also, while we move from one idea to another, from one sentence to another, there should be logical connection, grammatical connection between and among all the elements that you have inside your body paragraphs. Have you expressed all the ideas clearly and concisely? Your expression of ideas should be clear, should be concise. Don't overuse words. Don't explain something you can explain in one word in more than one word. And is your language style appropriate and to the point? Check, is it formal? Is it impersonal? Is it appropriate for the topic that you're discussing? In this video, we talked about the body, which is the most important part of the essay. Make sure that you watch the video again if you need to, and remember that you need to put the ideas into practice. In the next video, we're going to talk about the conclusion of the essay.